Hello everyone, welcome to a brand new live ASO teardown, something I haven't done in like a month, maybe even more. It's been a while. I'm so happy to be here on camera. It's been a crazy month where I keynoted a conference, got a bunch of product stuff done, and now I'm back looking at your apps and trying to understand how to make them better. And if your app didn't get picked, you can learn from all the apps that I will show today. So that's the goal. That's what we're going to do today. But before I did not forget, it's tradition. Let me know what's in your cup and where you are from in the chat. So I'm drinking, what am I drinking? Earl Grey tea. That's what's in my cup today, in my brand new Appfigures mug with our new logo. And I'm here in New York City, which is rainy and kind of wintry, finally. Not finally in a good way, like just finally because it happened. So let me know what's in your cup, where you're from as we wait for more people to come in. And we will get started. I picked 10 apps. I don't know if I can do all 10 apps, but I will try. And people are telling me that my microphone's a little bit low. So let's see. I'll get it as close as I can to my mouth. I made my microphone really low, I think last time, because I had a ton of construction noise, and I figured if I lower the volume, it'll be easier. And it just might be. Let's see if I can bring it up again. Let me know in the chat if the microphone is any better or any worse as I'm doing this. And please let me know where you're from and what's in your cup, as I am trying to do video engineering in real time. I love this. This is a lot of fun. If you do any sort of live streaming, I'm sure you know how exciting it is to have to update volumes in real time. But we're going to do that. You let me know where you're from. We're going to get started very, very soon. And that's the plan. Let's see what I can push. This is as much as I can push here. No cup. Working out in Estonia. That's cool. Working out and listening to me. That's awesome. Water in Texas. That's nice. What else? What else do we have here? Ooh, tea in Poland. Tea in Hungary. Everyone is drinking tea. I'm so happy to see this. To hear that, to read this. I'm so happy. Tea is the best. Okay, let's see if I can get this a little bit higher. Okay, microphone should be a little bit better. I think way too much. I think the microphone is good. So this was the segment where I fix my microphone, and I will remember to fix it for the future. Now that I don't have construction and noises, you can also hear me. So I see more people are shuffling in, looking good. Everyone is drinking tea. That's amazing. I think because everyone is drinking tea, let me know what kind of tea you're drinking. I'm curious. I know I switch all the time, so if I learn something new, I would be happy. Ooh, espresso in Brazil. There we go. I didn't have my espresso today. I jumped right into tea. Usually it's coffee and then tea. Today it's just tea. Special. Alrighty. So we're about to get started. Before we get started, I have a cool thing. So last month we went to a conference, and as part of going to the conference, we had to make new swag because I love making cool swag. And we made these fridge magnets, which I showed on X, Twitter, X. And people really, really loved them. They asked me how they can get them. So today is an opportunity to get one of these fridge magnets if you want. This is the Appfigures logo in white. Well, in orange with white, in white with orange. All you have to do, make sure you are subscribed to the channel, like the video, and leave a comment with your favorite color. There are two options, orange on the outside or white on the outside. Help me pick which one is better. I have a favorite. I will tell you what it is later in the video. I don't want to sway your answers, but one of those is my favorite. Let me know which one is your favorite, and you'll get a chance to get one of these in the mail completely free. You don't have to be an Appfigures member. Just make sure you're subscribed to the channel, like the video, and leave a comment with either orange or white. That's all you have to do. So we're going to get started. Before we get started, there's already a question in the chat that I knew would come up and I really want to talk about. So let me see if I can bring that up really, really quickly. And then we'll get started. We'll get to the teardowns. I promise. I'm on time, which is good. I'm always on time, but this is better on time. Organized on time. So let's see if I can bring this up. All right, so Philip is asking, is saying there was a huge drop in popularity score from Apple, and no one really knows why or what is happening, and if that's actually true or if there's a bug or something like that. And the answer is I don't exactly know, and let me explain why. So let me take you back about a year. About a year ago, Apple made some changes under the hood of how it reports popularity scores. They have two ways of reporting them. One is supposed to be contextual, one is supposed to be generalized, and they flipped them, which was really, really strange. We waited a little bit to make sure that that was actually happening, and that was actually happening. It was sticky, and we switched all of our internals to follow those. About a week ago or 2 weeks ago, Apple flipped them back. And we weren't really sure if it's, again, something that Apple did on purpose, or if it's something that just, I don't know, happened by accident. I'm more leaning towards happened by accident at this point because we've seen a lot of keywords go to 5. And then within a few days, many of the keywords, not all, but many of the keywords have gone back to what they used to be before or something similar. So my thinking is Apple had some sort of a cache that they cleared, and maybe in the process, something bad happened. That's just a total speculation, maybe a guess. But I'm thinking that within a few more days, maybe another week, we'll be able to tell what's really happening because we're counting the number of keywords that went to 5 and are now going back to what they used to be, and we'll see how that changes. That number continues to go up. So in my mind, something wrong happened and they're trying to undo it. And because this is a process that runs in the background and calculates popularity, probably not as often for some keywords that are not as popular, haha, that's why we're still seeing 5s, like that cache hasn't been filled or something like that. So I don't know exactly what's happening, and this is just my guess based on the data we're seeing, but I am following this, and we will put out an announcement as soon as we know what's going on. With Apple, I don't want to say something and then Apple will just undo it because that's kind of what I feel like is happening. I don't think this was a change that happened on purpose. So hang tight. If you know that the keywords you're after were popular last week or 2 weeks ago, they're probably still popular for the most part. I've seen this happen across many, many, many keywords that I know are popular. So hang tight. We'll know in a few weeks. That's what I would say to this. So, okay. Oh, and I see some people are saying orange or white in the chat. Do it in the comments so I know who you are later after the video so I can enter you into the raffle, and then we'll pick a handful at random depending on how many of those we have left from the conference. We have a bunch, so make sure you submit. But also, I'm glad that there's a diversity in orange versus white. I like them both, but one stands up. Okay, so the goal for today is to look at apps that were submitted by hopefully people that are currently in the audience and highlight what's going well, what's not going well, what we can do to improve, if there's anything obviously wrong, if there's anything really great that everyone else can learn from. That's my goal today. Hopefully, we will learn some new things. And before I even get started, in case you're new here and you have no clue who I am, my name is Ariel. I run Appfigures. We do app intelligence and app store optimization. We watch millions of apps all the time. I write about apps, I write about ASO, and I write about Apple ads. So many, many of the ways you can get more users to your apps are things that I talk about. Not only that, next live stream, we're going to be talking with an expert about meta ads. So if you want to know more about how to do meta ads the right way and not just burn your money, make sure you're subscribed. But okay, let's get started. Let me bring up my computer and we'll get into action. And where is my mouse? I lost my mouse as always. My mouse is here. So, okay, app intelligence. That's for later. We'll use this to understand how things are working. The first app we have is this one. Now, I have not seen any of these apps before, and I don't exactly know what they are, so I'm learning about them right with you here. I might mess something up if I don't understand it because I'm doing this very quickly. So if this is your app, let me know in the comments, and if I say something that is wrong, please correct me in the comments. So, okay, we're looking at FLAC MP3 Player, offline music, song playlist, play audio files. That's a lot of stuff. So this is interesting. Offline music player, drive smarter, listen better, fine-tune mode, explore your music library. So I get the general gist. This is an app for offline music, and this is something that you can do with Apple Music and also Spotify. So you're really facing tough competition for something like this. Now, the immediate thing that I see here is there's a lot going on between this name and the subtitle, and that's always, always bad. And the reason it's bad is because the algorithm doesn't really know what this app does, if you think about it. So the only way it can know is by reading these keywords. If you give it 10 keywords that are actual things that other apps are competing on, it will not assign all of the value that it can give you, the search value, to the one thing that your app does, but it will do it to all 10. So it will do it to song and playlist and play and music and offline and player and MP3 and audio and files, and that's way too many things. And so you're really confusing the algorithm here. Now, if you had an app that was getting a ton of new ratings are the currency for App Store optimization, then you could probably go after more of those. Not all of these. Even large apps that get thousands of new ratings every month can't do this. So this is not the right way to do it. There is a way to do it, but this is not the right way to do it. So what I would do is I would go into something like Keyword Inspector and try to figure out what is offline music, what's the popularity for that, who's competing, what are all the different features that you have offline music, and see with those which ones are the best opportunity. So offline music player, and this is a good example of focus. So this app does not have many different things in its name. It only has offline music and player. And you see this focus is definitely what's helping it to get to number one. Also the fact that it's getting 1,000 new ratings. So it's going to be very difficult to compete with offline music if, in your case, offline music is all the way at the end. And that's also because the algorithm reads from left to right and left to right reading languages, or right to left and right to left reading languages. And so what the algorithm is seeing here is it's seeing a lot of value on FLAC, and then MP3, and then player, and then offline, and then music, and then song, and it cascades all the way down. So it's taking a lot of juju, good energy that it can give you, and it's splitting it across all of these, where with this app, for example, it's just splitting it across offline music player. It's got a bunch of other things here, and that's okay because it does have the ratings to do it. So step number one, I would definitely trim down. And I think if you do that, you will get a bunch more. So, or at least a bunch more possibility of ranking higher. From what I can see here, you're not getting many new ratings. It's a total of 2 ratings. That's always a problem. So there are a few things that you can do when you don't have any ratings. Thing number one, get more ratings, obviously. And you can do that by using paid ads and making sure that your ratings prompt is really optimized. Super important. I have a guide on how to do that. We'll link to it later. But the thing is, you have to do it. You have to make sure that when someone comes into your app, the path to them leaving a rating is very simple. It doesn't mean pop it up immediately during the onboarding or right after, but it means that at the right time, it has to come up. Every app is just a little bit different. The other thing you can do, and then when you buy ads, you can get more people to download the app. And if you can get more people to download the app, more people will leave a rating. More ratings will help you float in organic search results, so you don't have to continue paying for ads. That's theoretically how you want to do it. There are many nuances, but that's the strategy. The other thing you can do is you can aim for keywords where the top apps are actually, or top results I should say, are actually not targeting the keyword, and then you can slip in with fewer new ratings. Now with 2 or with 0, it's going still to be very hard, but I'm sure you can get 10 or 15 or something like that if you go on Reddit and do some pushing, go on Twitter and do some advertising, go on LinkedIn, go on all of these forums and make sure people know that this app exists. And so offline music is definitely not one of these opportunities. And the reason is all of these apps are targeting it right in the name, and they're doing it right. This is the way to do it. Start with offline music. That's what the algorithm sees from left to right. Most of the value to the least value. Now, we do have one app that doesn't exactly do it. This app, AudioMac, play music offline. And the reason why it still wins is because it has 18,000 new ratings compared to 28 and 1.1 thousand. And the reason why it's not number one is because offline music, 1 is backwards and 2 is not in the beginning. So look at this. Look at how weird this is and how silly this looks. Small mistake. Putting the app's brand name first is really hurting. So that's really what I would do immediately. Not flip them. Look for keywords where you can compete. So it's possible that there aren't any. I don't know this app really all that well, but if you go through all the features that you have, go through all of the different keywords that align with those, and then find the ones that work. And if you can't find any keywords that are opportunities, start looking through keywords of competitors. So what I would do here in this example is go here and let me select these 3. I'm curious. These 5 actually, because this app only has 23 new ratings and it's top 5 for what is this? A 63 popularity keyword. This is incredible. So I don't want to compare app intelligence. I want to compare organic keywords. This is why I love Keyword Inspector. This is my favorite tool, by the way, my favorite Appfigures tool by far. And we have a lot of great tools. All of our app intelligence, especially the new stuff that I will show you in a moment, is super cool. But Keyword Inspector, it just does exactly what I want. On purpose, we built it so it would do exactly what I want, but it does exactly what we need in order to get more visibility. So here you can now go through and start understanding what are these apps ranking for. And once we do that, I'm sure we can find something that has potentially a lower popularity, but it will be a good entry point. So play music offline. Okay, it's a 5. Not really all that exciting. Music offline player. A 25. There we go. Okay, let's look at that. So it's a 25. It's a little bit lower. That's perfect for what we're trying to do. And look at this. None of the big apps, none of the top apps are optimizing for directly. They are indirectly, and that's why this is, again, number 1. This app did it well, but it's going to be a little bit easier, and that's why this app with 1 new rating actually made it to the top 5 in a 25 popularity. So, and it dropped to 5, and this could be the issue that we're seeing with Apple. This could change in a few days. So again, keep an eye on it. But this is why you want to find those opportunities. And here, we just found us an opportunity. This potentially a 25. We'll see about this in a few days. But if this is a 25, and an app can become number 4 with 1 rating, just by having this in its name, you know that good things are coming. So that's what you should be doing. And I took a lot of time focusing on this one app. And I'll move a little bit faster in the next ones, mostly because what I really want to do is I want you to understand the process of how I do this. So we talked about the algorithm giving feedback, providing value from left to right. We talked about the importance of having the name of the app have the keywords from left to right for that particular reason. We talked about having fewer words in your name and in your subtitle, so not to confuse the algorithm. That's really, really important. And we also talked about looking for opportunities and looking at the ratings and making sure that you're getting more ratings for your app. So that's probably the gist of everything you need to know. And then we're going to do more hands-on looking at this as we continue. So let's continue. Okay. Well, let me actually take a few questions from the chat first. Let's see if there's anything new. Anything that we should talk about. More orange, good feedback. Interesting question about difficulty score. We'll get to that. We'll talk about difficulty in a moment. A question about whether metadata changes trigger reindex. Check downloads per rating for different app versions in Appfigures. Okay, we'll get to all these questions in a little bit, but one last thing that we should look at here is let's look at the screenshots. Apple is reading your screenshots with AI or CR. The implementation is irrelevant, and they're looking for keywords that are repeating, unlike everything else that you know about from the metadata world. And just like Google, actually, with their long description, Apple is looking for keywords that are repeating in the screenshots, and they're using those as part of the index. So if you do want to tackle offline music, target, not trigger, then you would want to have offline music in your screenshots somewhere, and you're doing that, which is good. Now, the one thing I noticed is that repetition within the screenshots is also really important. So offline music player should be here, and also here, and also here. At least the first 3. That's kind of what I noticed. There's still a ton more research that has to be done on what actually works within screenshots. I'm barely grazing the surface, but that's really the idea, is that you're using keywords to reinforce the metadata. You're not extending the metadata like the name and the subtitle do, but you're reinforcing the metadata. So what's in your name, what's in your title, what's in your subtitle, what's in your keyword list can be repeated here. And when it's repeated, it's good. I know that's kind of crazy. I didn't think I would say this, but I am. So continuing. So let's take a look at the next app. Health widget, my FitWidget, walking count and blood oxygen. Okay, so right off the bat, we have fewer words that are getting into this. Now, this seems to be widget oriented, and widgets had their moment. They had their moment a few years ago, and after that, it was a little bit harder to rank widgets. But Apple still seems to be into boosting things that work well with Apple's ecosystem. So that might be the case here. But let's see. So health widget might be something that is popular. Let's take a look. Health widget. Let's see what health widget does. Okay, so it's a 5. And let's see, maybe it will update back. I kind of believe a 5 for health widget. I don't really see that as something a lot of people are going to be searching for. So I don't think this is Apple, the issue with Apple, especially not when if you have an Apple Watch, which is what I saw in the screenshot here, you're getting a lot of the health stuff in the health app. So I don't know how many people would seek out a third party for something like this. It does seem a lot cleaner than Apple Health. And the health app, while nice, and I love Apple Health, and I use it all the time, it's definitely not straightforward. You have to click a lot of buttons or tap a lot of buttons, and it doesn't make things as fun or as easy as they could be. So I totally get why someone would be searching for this. I just don't see them searching for it very actively. So yeah, update today, and it is a 5. I kind of believe that. And the challenge here is now, what are people looking for when it comes to a replacement to Apple Health? And you can't really aim for just health, because I'm assuming health is going to be incredibly competitive. Okay, 60, updated today. And yeah, all these apps have health in the name, some unnecessary repetition, a lot of new ratings, and they do a lot of different things. So competing on just health alone is going to be really, really difficult. So just like what we were talking about before with offline music, I think the key here is going to be, what does this app do that fewer apps do than all the health apps, obviously, and that enough people are looking for? And what I'm seeing here is potentially the widget aspect. And there is widget in the name, but there has to be more to this. So we have to figure out what are those keywords that people are looking for. And if people are looking for a blood oxygen, then that's what we should be giving them. I assume here that the blood oxygen comes from the Apple Watch. So if the Apple Watch doesn't support it, you can't get it. Walking count, I would move this into the name. I think walking is definitely competitive, but also has more traffic. So if you can find something that has to do with walking that is an opportunity, like what I was showing before, that's really what I would looking at. So what was it saying here? Walking count. So maybe steps counter. Let's see if that gives us anything. Maybe steps is not the right word. Maybe step. Yeah, there we go. Okay, a 5 to a 59. So step counter, 59. Definitely something I would want to target. Do need a lot of ratings, so step counter as is, not a good idea. Unless we're getting a lot of ratings. Let's see. 1.3 thousand. Okay, not too bad. Let me try something else. I'm curious how many new ratings we've gotten. So I'm going to try our new app intelligence. Ratings and reviews. Okay, and here we can see total of 509 reviews, a bunch in March. Okay, about 60. And this is worldwide, so this is going to be a little bit problematic. So it's not going to be easy to compete over step counter. But given that you now know step counter is something people are looking for as opposed to a health widget, which is a lot more generic, now I would continue and go down this avenue. So let's see what these apps do. You know, I don't want to do this. I just want to do the top 10. This will be a lot easier. This is one of the easiest shortcuts to use. So this is automatically getting the top 5. And what do we got here? Let's look for step. And what I'm doing here is I'm taking all of the top 5 competitors' keywords, and I'm plotting them all at the same time. And I'm going to do some searches on them. Make it very, very easy. So step counter, pretty high. Step up, step app, step tracker, step track. I would try looking for something a little bit lower, as low as I can go. That still makes sense. Maybe step tracker. And then look at those search results and then continue to do the same until I find something that actually works and something where the top results are not looking or not targeting in their name. And that might be this particular app. So step tracker, popularity of 49, has a bunch of apps that have a lot of ratings, but if you notice, they don't have step tracker in their name. So this could be an opportunity for you. I would have to look a little bit more, and I would like to find a few more if I had time, but that's where I would go. So if you look at that and then sprinkle widget on top of it, I think that's going to be a lot easier. So that's what I would do. Now, just like what I was saying before, looking at the screenshots now do two things. They, one, sell the app, but two, also sell the app to Apple. So make sure that whatever you do with steps, and now that I'm looking at the screenshots, steps make a lot of sense. It's also your first screenshot, and I think that's for a reason. So make sure you have steps and tracker if that's what you end up choosing in at least the first 3 screenshots. And also make sure that you're giving users the reason why this is better than what they have currently, especially if you're showing the Apple Watch. If someone has an Apple Watch, they're probably already using Apple's built-in stuff. How is this better than Apple's built-in stuff? Make sure that you highlight that. You don't have to say it explicitly. You don't have to say this is better than Apple Health, but you do have to show all of the differences and hope that people will get it because they've used Apple Health. And even if they don't, it's still showing the benefits of the app. So you win both ways. Okay. Continuing. So let's take questions because I see the chat is moving faster than I expected. So what do we got? Let's see. Okay. So I'm going to bring this on the screen so we can look at it together. Cigar saying, in the AF difficulty score, what would you suggest to keep below of an indie app dev who only relies on organic content and shipping up updates weekly? I don't think that there's a number that I would look for. When I get asked about this all the time, specifically the difficulty score. And the idea behind the difficulty score is that it's contextual to the keyword you're looking at, and it's based on the top results. So in some cases, an app might be competitive, but at the same time, it could also be an opportunity if you do your keyword strategy really, really well, what I've been talking about all morning. So that's what I would look through. The idea is that when you see a competitiveness score and you see a popularity score, you can use both to determine if this is something you should even touch with a stick. And so if something is incredibly competitive and the competitors have keywords in their name, the keywords that are aligned with the keyword you're looking for in the name, don't touch it. It doesn't really matter if it's 100 or 90 or an 80 at that point, because as long as they're stronger than you, you're going to be in trouble. So instead of looking at it as an absolute number, look at it as a relative number that you can then use and put in context with your with the popularity score and how your app fits. And if you're saying you should give me a metric that does all this for me, we will. You didn't hear this here. Okay, next. Rishi is asking, does metadata changes like app name, subtitle, keywords trigger reindex and reduce impressions for a few weeks? Not to my knowledge. I think the reindexes happen when you submit the app, sure. But from my experience, they do the opposite. If a reindex happens, it still retains what happened and what was there before. And so it's kind of like building a history. And so it's not devaluing or it's not throwing it away, it's just devaluing it a little bit as it's testing your new metadata. This is why if you introduce new metadata, you can actually go up the charts within a few hours. And in many cases, especially with keywords that start very low in the hundreds or in the low hundreds, you could see them go up 50 or 100 spots within a few hours of releasing an update because Apple is reindexing. So yes, but it shouldn't reduce impressions unless you did something wrong or unless you confused the algorithm or introduced an ASO update that was bad. Those can happen. Undo those. That's the best way to do it. Okay, next. Cigar is also asking, is there a way to track downloads per rating for different app versions? There isn't, but you can track it over time. So if you track it over time and you know when you did your updates and you have your events plotted on your charts, you should be able to do that. Leonora is asking, in your opinion, to farm ratings, is it better to run ads on Apple Ads, Meta, or Google Ads, or another one? It's a challenge to decide, to determine, and it mostly depends on your app and when you ask for ratings and how you engage a user and what your onboarding is like. So all those channels will get you new users, and I've talked about this in the past with multiple guests. The decision between whether you should go with Apple Ads or you should go with Meta Ads or Facebook Ads is more about how many of those potential users know what they're looking for. So if someone comes into the App Store and knows to look for an offline music app, let's just say, then the App Store is the easiest place to get more users who will engage and are more likely to leave a rating. If you go outside the App Store for a variety of other apps that maybe people are unaware of, don't have the need for, but are really cool ideas, then you should go with Meta or with really any of the other ones where people are not looking for something specific. The challenge with that, though, is that if someone is not looking for something specific and they stumble across your ad and they go, oh yeah, this is nice, I really want it, it doesn't mean that once they see it, they'll be like, yes, I love it enough to leave a rating. So the key is always going to be make sure that you have that ratings pop up in the right place at the right time as quickly as you can within reason to get to extract as much from wherever the ad is, and the ad should go wherever it makes sense for your app. If you have an app that can go both ways, you can test it. Serkan is saying, I saw a post on X a couple of months ago saying putting the name first doesn't matter anymore, but looks like it still is. PSA, X is full of really things that are not backed by anything. I know I talk on X a lot less now because of this, but there's just so much going on X that is completely baseless, makes no sense, is not based on any data. I don't know of anyone else who has as much data as I do, and some of the things that I see pretend to do more, to have more data, to make more decisions that are based on more data than what I'm looking at, and it just makes no sense to me. I know how much data there is out there. We collect all of it. So don't trust what you see online blindly, and that goes the same for me. I've been doing this for a very long time, and I've seen all the changes as they happen. I've not seen a single change to indicate that the algorithm doesn't give value from left to right anymore, in English specifically. So putting your app's name first is definitely eating away at that value, and it's just hurting your ASO, obviously, as we can continue to see. But also, don't believe anything on X. I've seen so many posts with people putting numbers on apps, not that they own other apps. They're saying, oh, this app is making so much money. And those are completely false. Our app intelligence is the top of the market. We're trusted by banks and investors and a ton of developers. And so when I look at our numbers and I compare them to what I see on X, sometimes they're off by an order of magnitude. And I don't know if that's someone going into their developer console and changing and adding a zero, or someone being really misinformed. But whatever it is, don't trust what you see online blindly, especially now with something like this. If you want to try it, test it. Test it using another localization. That's a tip that I give almost in every live stream. I'll drop a link to the guide for how to use additional localizations to index in the US, and that's a good place to test things like this. Okay, that was my rant about X. I was at a conference and I did a bunch of videos with experts in the industry, and one of the videos was basically both of us complaining about the absurdity that we see on X at this point. I don't know if we'll ever publish it. I don't know if it's useful. Okay, one more and then we'll continue. Asgard is asking, what's the keyword density to keep in long description, to keep like 2-3% for the important ones? Yeah, something like that. We built all the rules. So we have a keyword density tool specifically for Google because Apple doesn't read the description, doesn't do anything with it. Maybe they do now. There's some rumors. I don't trust them. But Google specifically has for a long time been using the keyword list, the long description as a replacement for a keyword list. And so they read it, and repetition there is really important. If you go into the tool on the Appfigures site, it's actually a free tool, so anyone can go and use it on any plan, even the free. and you can load your description, and then it will analyze it for you, and it will tell you if your keywords are being used too many times or not enough times, and it will show you what the algorithm sees. So 2 to 3% is generally okay, but it really depends on a few other things that happen at the same time. If you have too many keywords with 2%, for example, that's also going to be seen as spam. If you don't have enough, then it's not going to see anything. So go to the tool, put your description in there by selecting your app, or update your new description, and you'll see it. Okay. Okay, one more question. Rishi's saying, launch my first indie app. Cool. A Wi-Fi analyzer. That's nice. Rename to Wi-Fi analyzer. Impressions fell 200 to 40. New build with keyword update. Too many. This is too long, so I don't know. Too many changes. Maybe. I think so the question is really about the number of changes, I think, more so than the placement of keywords. So there was a change on the 28th. There was a change on the 1st, so 3-ish days later, 4 days later, and then a change on the 7th. Those are definitely too many changes. It takes time for the algorithm not only to index your app, but also to test the keywords. And that's why sometimes you might see keywords going up and then immediately down, or down and then immediately up over a short span of time, because it's testing it to see if anyone cares about your Wi-Fi analyzer for those specific keywords. So what I would do is, what I always say is, give at least 2 to 3 weeks. If you're really in a rush, 2 weeks is probably a good amount of time. If you're in a real rush for whatever reason and just have to make changes in less than 2 weeks, but don't expect that to stick. So around 2 weeks is probably good. For Google Play, I would extend it, because Google Play takes a lot more time, about 3 to 4 weeks, in order to verify. So yes, too many changes, also too many abrupt changes. If you change anything else, like your keyword list or your subtitle, that could really impact that as well. If you change your screenshots, same thing. I think now with screenshots also being read, it might take a little bit longer for Apple to index. So 2 weeks, nothing less. Kind of stick it out unless it's really ugly, and that's, in this case, is really ugly. So undo this and then let it rest. Okay, let's continue and do a few more apps, because I didn't realize what time it was. And if you haven't already, make sure that you put whether you like the orange magnet or the white magnet in the comments below, and make sure you subscribe. You have to subscribe to the channel, otherwise I'm not going to be able to find you. So it's not I just want subscribers. I really want to give these out. They're really cool. So subscribe to the channel, give the video a like, and let me know orange or white. I'll reveal my preference in about 10 minutes. Okay, so let's go through more apps quickly. Next up, video dating, video chat, camsurf, talk to girls. Again, I think we're seeing the same thing over and over. There's a lot going on here. Also, I hope YouTube is not going to say things about this, but this feels like a play on TikTok, but TikTok for dating based on the colors and everything else. And I assume the name of the app is Minglify. I could be wrong. But one of the obvious issues that I see here is that the app doesn't have a name. So either the app is really just focusing on getting people through paid user acquisition or ASO, and no users talking to other friends and saying, oh, I'm on this cool video dating app called, I don't know what it's called. Always have a name for your app, and put it somewhere with a very few short list of exceptions, like super short list of exceptions. I would always have a name. But again, just like everything we've seen so far, there's a lot going on here. I think too much going on. Dating is super hot. It's really hard to get into dating. You have Tinder and the portfolio that Tinder has. You have other competitors, niche competitors that are slowly growing. This is kind of a generic dating app. It's going to be really challenging for it to take off. So 1, give it a name. 2, focus. Video dating is probably enough, either video dating or video chat, but not video dating, video chat, camsurf, flirt. It won't work. The other thing you need to do for something like dating, I think ASO alone is not going to take you very far unless you have a lot of momentum. And the reason is, if you look for just dating specifically and not something specific to dating, not a niche dating, this is not a niche dating, this is generic dating. And I'm not saying generic as a negative, but just it competes with Tinder in a sense. So dating has all these apps that are investing a lot into getting more ratings, a lot into pretty much everything. And Tinder is not even number 1. And Tinder is, I think, the 4th highest earning app in the world. I just released those numbers actually this morning. I think it was number 4 or number 5. So you're competing with all of these when you're just going for dating. And you just can't. It's not going to work. So realistically, you have to find a nicher, is that a word? Probably not a word. A more niche way to focus, and I think that's the best way to do it. The other thing that I do see here, you have a video, and the video is really cool, and I think that's going to give you a lot of conversion. So I imagine that if we looked at your downloads, your views to downloads, those would be pretty high. But then again, same thing. Use the screenshots for text, and I actually do see that here. Video dating is number 1. Video chat, which comes from the name. So this works. Well done. I think the only challenge is that this is so competitive and there's so much going on that you have to niche down. Really, really niche down. That's what I would look for. And let's look at video dating. I'm actually curious. I don't think I've ever looked for that. Video dating, 16. Oh, wow. I don't know if that's good or bad. I have to think about this. But let's see what's happening here. Dating and video, a lot of new ratings, a lot of new ratings, a lot of new ratings. And you're here. So I think, I mean, that's not terrible. Still 16, updated today. I think if you focus your keyword list, just like what we've seen with all the other apps, that's a great idea. And that would help you climb at least up these. You can get to at least the top 5 if you just kind of focus on video dating. Maybe video chat is more interesting though. I'm not going as fast as I want, but let's see. And I forgot the O. Okay, video chat is a 44. That might be a little bit more interesting. So you do have opportunities. I'm a little bit surprised by the popularities here, but focus, 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 focus. That's where I would go with this. And we have more time, so let's continue. Okay, next up, totally different. Convert to PDF, photos, snap scan, JPEG converter, scan documents. Yes, same exact issue. Same exact issue. So again, this is one of those challenges where I know as a developer, you want to put out there as many keywords as possible. And up until maybe 3, 4, 5-ish years ago, maybe 3, maybe 5. That's quite a range. 4 years ago, we'll go with the average. That was actually okay. It wasn't great. That stopped being great around 2015, 2016, but it was still okay. And as the stores focused, they realized that they can't rank an app for all these things. There would just be a mess. And that's why you can't put so many things into your name. Now, like I said before, there is a trick for doing that. So Apple allows you to use 10 languages, 10, in the US that are all indexed. That includes Russian and French and a whole bunch of others. I have a guide with a full list of all of those languages. And if you use English keywords, an English name, an English subtitle, an English keyword list in those other languages, Apple will index them and they don't care that it's English. So you can go with something like convert to PDF in English and then also JPEG converter in Russian, let's say, unless you're already localizing for Russian, and then obviously don't use that. But if you're not using that localization, that's how I would do it. So step number 1 is niche down, focus. Now, the other thing is this icon is extremely generic, and I didn't necessarily know that this looks like a PDF scanner to me. And this probably is a PDF scanner because I see scan in the subtitle here, scan documents. But then I also see convert to PDF photos. Like everything about this screams this is a list of keywords. Don't read this as a human. The only problem is humans are what's downloading apps. And so I would focus. Do you want to focus on document scanning? Do you want to focus on photo scanning? Document to PDF, photo to PDF, whatever it is, that's what I would focus on. I like that there's SnapScan here. I would leave this. I would simplify this as well. And again, look for those opportunities. So let's take a quick look of what's a PDF scanner. What does that look like these days? Ha, a 63. Okay, that might not be the best one to target. And look at all these. All the icons look identical, which is not a good thing. Let's see what's happening here. PDF scanner, PDF scanner. I would not call this an obvious opportunity. there is an opportunity in here, but it's not really an easy opportunity, not for an app without any ratings. We can look for scan PDF, scan to PDF. 57? Oh, wow. Okay, I mean, it makes sense. And this is a little bit of a more of an opportunity, and that's because most of these other apps are targeting scanner, which is more popular. But at the same time, if you can get into here, you'll be golden. So that's what I would do. That's really where I would start. And that is always look for what is a similar keyword, but an opportunity. And then look at this, 9 ratings, 9 ratings. And this keyword is 57. Popularity of 57. Incredible. You have to find these opportunities, and when you do, you can easily use them. I could make a tool to let you find all the opportunities automatically, and then everyone will be using them, and there will be no more opportunities. So until I do that, make sure you go and you find them yourself. Okay, let's see what else is going on here. So again, we're seeing good with screenshots. Convert to PDF. Perfect. PDF converter and scanner. Great. Image converter, photos to PDF converter. This is exactly what you want. Now, whether this is exactly what I would want as a user, that's a different question. We'll get to it in a moment. But from an algorithm standpoint, this works. So just like the name feels like a list of keywords to me, and I don't like that as a user, these also feel, the screenshots also feel a little bit like a list of keywords. And what I think is important is to remember that these also are responsible for converting someone. So the algorithm might love you and will put you as number 1, but then when people come to the page, they may not understand or may not like this or may feel queasy about it. So you want to make sure that these also do what they need to convert. So convert to PDF. Why do I need to convert this to PDF? Is there a reason? Also, what is this image? How does it align with converting to PDF? People do sell products, yes, but in this case, is she converting to PDF and she's so happy because it's so easy? That's why. And if so, put it on the screenshots. Why not? That's where I would do here. Look at the screenshots and make them a little bit more, give value, explain the benefits of using the apps. Because right now, all I see are features. Okay, next. We'll do one more, and then I'll take more questions, and then we'll try to do one more. Cat allergy. Oh, go away. Cat allergy buddy, AI tracker. Okay, so I already see 2 sins on this that I should make a new list of sins, but number 1, cat allergy management app. I don't want to be mean here, but I doubt this is the number 1 cat allergy management app. Maybe there's one of one. I don't know because I don't use cat allergy management apps. But when I see something like that, I instantly know that this is not the number 1 rated allergy, whatever it is. Maybe it's because I live in New York and pretty much every other store here is the number 1 store, the best in New York City. And I know that's absolutely not true. Maybe that's just what I'm used to. But don't make bold claims that are false. People hate that. People hate that at a visceral level. So they're not even going to know why they don't like it. They'll just see it and go, eh. Now, if you had 1 million ratings, maybe. If you had 10,000 ratings and a 4.9 average, maybe, I can see that. This is kind of a niche app. I don't know about many cat allergy management apps. But at 1 rating, that's a 5, it just isn't. So this is something that I would immediately fix. You don't need to lie. That's the thing. Find something that is accurate. Find one good review where someone said that this app helped their cat so much and they're so happy, and put that on your first screenshot as social proof. If you don't have that, just wait until that comes. Most apps do not have any sort of number 1, best, people love us. And I think that's okay. So let's see what we're looking at here. Cat allergy buddy, AI tracker. So the second sin is putting AI on everything. AI is cool, and AI is amazing in many, many, many ways, and I've been using AI for a long time, and I love AI. But at the same time, a lot of people are now targeting AI because they think that everyone wants it. So let me give you an example of what's going on here. When you say AI tracker, you're putting yourself into weird competition with a ton of apps that have AI and tracker in their name that have nothing to do with cats or allergy or management. So let's see. What is AI tracker? And what's that going to bring us? 1 is a 5, which is already bad. But 2, you're competing with Cal AI. So that's kind of a problem. You compare it with AI calorie tracker. Oh, that's okay. That makes sense. So Apple associated tracker and AI with calorie tracking, mostly because Cal AI is so big, and that kind of makes sense. So you're not really competing with cat allergy. Let's see, cat allergy. I don't even know what to look for. That's how I think confused the algorithm would be. Cat allergy. Is this more than a 5? What do you think? Take your shots, quick. More than a 5 or less than a 5 as the page loads? I think this is a 5. Of all the keywords I really wanted to see, this is the slowest. Oh, and look who's number 1 with 1 rating. So if this is a 5, that means that really all the keywords that you have in your name right now are 5s. And that's bad because the algorithm is obviously ranking you for those, but no one else is looking for those. So really what I would do, again, like what I was saying before, what are the benefits that someone would want when they think about your app? Would they want, is it really cat allergy management? Is that, I don't know what it is specifically. I think it would take some more iterations for me to think about it because I don't know this niche at all. But you know this niche at all, well, more than me, because this is your app. So why did you build it? What were the pain points? What made you want to build this? And it wasn't cat allergy buddy, AI tracker. You didn't want an AI tracker. You wanted something else. So what is it tracking and why is it doing it? And those are the keywords that you should be chasing. And then look and find other people who've done it, other apps that have done it. Once you have that, then you know which kind of keywords you should go after. Then you find the opportunities and then bingo, you're making money. Okay, so we're running out of time slowly, but let me take a few more questions from the chat. So, oh wow, there's a lot of stuff happening in the chat. Okay, let's see. When running ads, Leonardo is asking, running ads, should we try focusing on a single country to get ratings on it? Is it better to get many ratings in a single country, or can it be multiple countries? So for Apple specifically, it is based on the country. And that's why in Keyword Inspector, we show you the ratings for that country only. So all those apps that we've seen so far probably have more ratings elsewhere. This is all focused on specifically in the US in this case. And it's the same for downloads, the same for revenue. All of the data in Keyword Inspector is country specific for this reason. So at least focus on one country. If you want to have multiple countries, focus on each individually. So don't aim to spread it around. That's only going to not work. Okay, let's see. What else? Another one from Leonardo. If competitors are not using the keywords in their visible metadata, but the competitiveness score is high, can it be viable to target the keyword? Absolutely. If a competitor is not targeting the keyword in the bestest way of targeting it, and you do, you'll always have a leg up, even if they have it in their keyword list. Now, if they have a significantly higher number of new ratings, it's going to be a little bit challenging, and that really depends on how the algorithm looks at the category, what else other competitors are doing. There are a whole bunch of nuances to this, but there's really no reason for you not to try it. The visible metadata, especially the name, then the subtitle, is the most important part of your apps for optimization. So if a competitor is not putting something there, you can try and you can potentially outpace them by doing it properly. Okay, let's see what else. What else is going on? Ooh, Vlad is asking, can repetition hurt rankings? Like if my title is car tracker, if I add audio car tracker in my keywords field, would that hurt my rankings in case I want to focus on those few keywords in general? And the answer is absolutely. There's really no reason to do any sort of repetition in your keyword list or in your name or in your subtitle. The screenshots are really the only place where you want to be repeating. So, okay. Let's do one more app. How do you feel about that? I'm going to go with a yes because there's a delay on chat and I don't want to wait. So, okay. We were on cat allergy. Next. Mummi, postpartum depression, mood and sleep tracker for moms. So, okay. This is a little bit more focused. There's still a lot going on here, but it is focused. I would definitely move Mummi all the way to the end, mostly because no one is searching for it. And because the value is, again, given from left to right. If you're putting something people are not searching for in the place that gets all the value from the algorithm, you're just shooting yourself in the foot. And we don't like that for obvious reasons. So I would move them to the end. Postpartum depression, I don't think I've ever looked at this, or I haven't outside of live streams, because we have looked at one app that was similar a few months ago, but let's see. Okay, so a 5, maybe higher, but not really. Okay, not a lot going on here. And I think that means that whatever it is that, again, the app is selling needs to be highlighted a little bit differently, because people are just not looking for it. So maybe this is what the app helps with. But if people are not looking for it, they're not going to find you. They're not going to get the help they need. So is this a sleep tracker for moms? Let's see if that's something people are looking for. I think that's too long, so I don't really expect that to be very high. Let's see. Nope, just a 5. Okay. So again, we're seeing something very similar to what we saw before. You're targeting keywords that are either way too generic, like mood, or depression, or keywords that are way too specific, and that's not giving you what you want. So I would dig in and try to figure out, what is this app, what is the main value, and why would I want this? Obviously, I would not, because I'm not a mom, but why would a mom want this? And then once you do that, look for the keywords. Look through the keywords, find the keywords that have some popularity. Anything above 5, anything above 10 would actually be really useful, and that's what you should target. I don't see any real issues here. And this is a lot of words, but at the same time, they're all very focused, so this is okay. But I do see something that we saw in the last app, and that is the #1 app for moms. Is it really? I know you might think that, and that might be true. I don't know. I've never really used it. But when I see stuff like that, I immediately feel, why? Who decided that it's #1? And then again, if there is some sort of a justification, if there's an award, or if there's something else that you can put on it, that's great. But even an Apple Design Award does not really give you the #1 app for moms. It just says Apple likes the way things look. And without that many ratings, which are the easiest way for people to say, okay, people are using this, it's going to be very hard to believe. So that's what I would focus on, kind of simplifying and really offering the focus, really focusing on what the offering of the app is. Now, there is some social proof here, and I think it's really cool. I would just remove the #1 app for moms and instead focus on all the real good things, not the maybe good things. And if this is the #1 app for moms, as cited by something, I would put that on here and not make me guess. That's kind of the idea. But I think the real challenge is going to be finding those keywords that people are actually looking for, because they're not looking for a sleep tracker for moms. And if you just look for sleep trackers, you're going to be in a world of hurt. I actually just wrote about it in the newsletter, because Pokemon Go, or Pokemon, made their way into sleep tracking with Pokemon Sleep, and that app is making a ton of money, and other apps are like, they're still making money. The business exists, but it's definitely not something you can easily compete with when there's so many competitors in there. So find those right keywords that make your app unique, and those are the ones that you should be targeting. We have 2 more minutes. Let's see if I can do another app in 2 minutes. AI Game Master, Dungeon RPG Role-Playing Text Adventure. And it's got a bunch of ratings, so that's already a good starting point. This is totally different than anything we've done so far. So this is a game. It's got a video. This is hyper specific, and it's funny, because I was looking for this niche of Dungeon and Dragons type games built on AI. It seems like the easiest thing to build, and so this makes sense to me. Now, I've never really looked at this category, so let's see if people are actually looking for it. What does Dungeon RPG look like? I found, I think, the most complicated app to do in 2 minutes, or the 1 minute that I have. 17. Okay, interesting. Oh, interesting. And you're not even number one. Why you're not number one? Oh, because it's at the end? Probably. Probably also because of the number of ratings. Let's take a look at the app real quick in App Intelligence. New ratings. Okay, and this is worldwide, so let's look at United States. Okay, not too bad at all. 250. Wait, is this 30 characters? This could be 30 characters. So there is a bug that is still happening on the App Store where if you have exactly 30 characters, Apple drops the last character. 30 characters and specific symbols. Apple will drop the last character. Okay, this app will take me way too long, more than the 0 minutes that I have. But overall, I think this is an interesting niche. I think these screenshots can be improved a little bit and explain what the value of the app is. I can kind of get it, but I don't really. I think powered by GPT-4 is kind of old, so I wouldn't do that at all. Also, there are better ones for writing. Claude is actually a little bit better for writing than GPT, even 5. Don't ask how I know. And so, I would think about this as more of where is the value. I think there's probably some opportunities here also for getting more visibility, more organic visibility. Clearly, something is happening and something is right. I don't know if this is based on paid user acquisition, maybe, but okay. So if you're the developer of this and you're on the video, let me know later if you want me to do a standalone video on this app. I'm just curious. Actually, if you're this app or this app or this app, let me know in the comments later because the chat's going to go away. If you want me to do a standalone video, and I'll do a video just for this app because I had them picked and I would love to look at them. So yeah, let me know in the comments later. A lot of words, and it's only Wednesday. Also, if you haven't yet, make sure you subscribe to the channel, give the video a like, and let me know if you like the orange magnet or the white magnet in the comments, and I will raffle a handful of those. That's pretty much all I got. I know there's a lot going on in the chat. I will try to read this later, and if I can, answer some of those questions in the comments. I always say I will do it, and I don't always have the time to do it. I know. I will try. But other than that, we have another live stream coming up in a few weeks where we'll be talking about meta ads with an expert who will teach you exactly how to do it. And then I have 2 more live streams after that talking about app intelligence. So it's going to be a really packed few months in live streams and also in videos. Like I said, make sure you subscribe. Other than that, if you have any other questions, find me on X or on LinkedIn, and I will do everything I can to answer them. You can also email me. Many of you have my email because that's how you got to this live stream. And subscribe to the newsletter. That's pretty much all from me today. If you have anything else that you need, you know where to find me. Otherwise, I will see you in the next one.